Hey guys, this is your host Nautic Sketch with the least. How are you guys doing? I'm doing fine today. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. No excuses. I've just really haven't been feeling like it. I've kind of been in like sort of a depressed state. As winter comes along and you have school right after the first semester. Like first semester, I always do good in school. Like I get good grades, and I'm always one of the top of my class, like a nerd like that. But during second semester, during the first about 3 of the 6 months during second semester, well, I guess there's about 5 months, so I guess about half of it, I just completely do no work at all, and I get myself all caught up with all this work that I have to do in like a week or so. And it's just, I don't know, it's what people call it is called winter blues. You don't live in Canada, most of you, I guess, so you wouldn't really know what it's like unless you live here. Like all year, you're like, oh yeah, we get snow all the time during the winter. Like, well, fuck you. Come to Canada, see how much goddamn snow we have, and then you can talk. Because, like the old expression goes, there's an expression, if you haven't heard of it, that Canadians ride polar bears to school. I think it's fucking awesome, but it's just to portray the stereotype about Canada that we live in very cold conditions, which is why polar bears can live here. We live in very winterous snow conditions for almost more than half the year, which really ticks me off and why I kind of want to move out of here. But besides the fact, that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk today about is raging in Call of Duty and people getting in fights over Call of Duty saying, what if you want me, bro? I'm going to kick your ass. Because I've had some personal experiences with this and they don't work out well. I remember whenever I was about 13 years old playing Modern Warfare 2, I was really pissed off. Like, I've always been that kind of guy that didn't want to get into a fight because I'm a modest guy, I like to say. Probably would win in a Call of Duty battle. I'm just a very modest guy, and I always have that little thought in the back of my head, like, maybe I won't win, maybe that's from a lack of confidence, but like I'm saying right now, I'd probably kick his ass, so I don't know what it's from, really. But you hear people doing that all the time. They get into big fights on Call of Duty, and then they 1v1, and one guy's always yelling at the air, like, I kicked your ass and all this, and they're all cocky. And this has recently started happening. Like, I've started to try and work on getting a 4v4 team for MLG and Elite Clan, and it's kind of really confusing because I have friends that rage a lot at the game. Raging, I do it sometimes, even though even the best players in the world rage once in a while. That's not the issue. It's whenever they get pissed off at other people, start saying that they're trash and getting into big fights. Just a couple days ago, I was in a personal experience. I was on with some friends, and I left for 10 minutes to do a match, and I came back. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm gonna go try hard for one match so I can sound whore. And so whenever I did that, whenever I got back into the party, this guy was already getting into a 1v1 with a bunch of people. He's like, yo, you gotta come help me out and kick their ass and stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting involved in this. That's your own fault for getting into that. And honestly, why'd you even do that in the first place? Like, I asked him out, why do you get into fights all the time? Because this kid gets into a lot of fights over Call of Duty, and most of the time, I don't want to say he loses, and I don't see a reason why he'd do that. You just gotta think about it from a sensible perspective. So I asked him, this is me, I'm like, why do you get in so many fights? Why do you get in a fight with this guy? He's like, oh, well, he was making fun of my mom and saying he can beat my ass. And I'm like, so what? Who gives a shit if he thinks he can beat your ass at a Call of Duty game? This is gonna happen all your life. Not everybody is gonna like you, okay? That's just life. And what you gotta do, you gotta learn to say no to it and just tell them, okay, I don't give a shit, You can say stuff to me over the internet. Wow, you are super tough, buddy. And that's what I say to people who do that, or I just ignore them. And, like, there's no point in getting in a fight. You could call me a pussy for that, but I'm just looking at like a responsible perspective, I should say. Kind of like an adult, even though, anybody calling me adult, that just breaks me down right there. I'm just like, no, do not call me an adult. I'm just smart and don't want to get into that bullshit. There's no point in getting into fights over the internet unless you know the guy in real life. And even in real life, why do people get in fights, honestly? Like, what I notice with women can get into fights, but whenever they act and whenever they do that, they get mad at each other for years and just constantly make fun of each other. They call them so fat and all this. And then you look at guys, what do guys do? Guys get into fights once and that's it. Like, women get mad at each other for years, and guys will just get into a fight and that will be it. Everything will be solved and there's not a lot of trash talking. But women, I've never personally heard about women doing this, you know, because they kind of keep it a secret. But they can be bitches, I hear. Like, they can yell at each other, call each other fat, ugly, slobs, and... But guys, you know, you just get into a fight and get it over with. But honestly, whenever it came to me, I was always a kid in school that I didn't like to get into confrontations. Not that I thought that I'd get my ass kicked, because most of the time I wouldn't. It just, I never thought of there being an actual reason to get into fights. I thought you could always talk it out, and I guess that's why I kind of want to do it over on Call of Duty. I tell people, you know, you have a problem with me? Oh, who gives a shit? I don't actually say that because that sounds like a cliche of some person. You hear people all the time. They're like, they're over Facebook. If you don't like me, just tell me now and I'll friend you. I'm like, oh my god, what is wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with you. Just stop talking about it. You're just getting into a lot of drama. What I'm trying to say is that I never got into fights. I was just always thought that I was stupid, and I told my dad that, and my dad said, you know, you're just like me, because I never liked that either. Even whenever I watch fights at school, I don't like it. I won't be the guy that gets into it and be like, you know, you guys shouldn't fight and all this, because then I'll get my ass kicked. But what I'm wondering is, why is it that we have a strange sensation of fighting? You know, like, you look back in history, wars all over the place, and everybody was just cruel to each other. Like, we've been fighting for centuries. We've never had a peaceful time in the world where people weren't fighting. And I'm just wondering, why is it that humans, we can't just come together as the same species and live in harmony, you know? Like, other animals and their species, they don't fight each other, they stay together. Like, there's this strange quote, well, there's this quote that I heard the other day that I really liked, and what it said was that humans aren't the first species to be homosexual, but we are the first to be homophobes. And that just basically means that we are the first ones to hate people for being gay. We are the first species, but we are not the first ones to being gay. There are countless animals that are gay and they are not picked on, but we fight with each other all the time. We pick on each other, and I don't see a reason why. I'm a nice guy and I don't pick on people, and it's the reason that we get into these big fights is because we like to get in fights. We have this strange sensation with each other that we have to fight, and basically tension blurs, and then once in a while we get into wars, and this is just going to keep happening over and over again. And I want to know why this is and what your guys' personal experiences is with fighting, and what you guys have done. If you guys have ever gone to fights because of some stupid reason, or if you guys ever backed out of a fight and were just the bigger man there. But honestly, I want to know what your guys' opinion is on the topic. And yeah, that's my rant for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll continue to make videos hopefully for you guys. So thanks for listening, guys. See you later. Bye.